Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Let me start off by saying fuck StreamYard and possibly YouTube. I'm not even seeing I'm watching my channel. I don't see myself and I don't have my notifications. What's going on, Clint?
What's up?
Not much. Just a appreciation stream for all you patrons out there who help keep the mothership rolling. It's gonna be a quickie, but I just wanted to acknowledge you guys and answer some of your questions in a non-structured environment. I'm trying to get the YouTube member one going, but there was something wrong. It wouldn't make the event. So here we are on Patreon. So those of you who are Patreons, you got all you have to do is check your inbox. Your link is there if you want to join in. Good day, perfect weather in here. I have not had to turn the air conditioner on once today. And on a top floor building where I'm at in Las Vegas, that is unheard of in late June, which is what we are now. We are on June 22nd. So, hey, I'm taking it. Not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm going to enjoy it. I know I'm running out of days like this. I know I'm running out of days like this.
But tomorrow it's going to be over 100.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. I think, tomorrow's what 101, which is like almost near winter time for us. But let's see. Yeah. Actually, no, tomorrow 93. Tuesday 95, Wednesday we start creeping, and then by the end of the week we're back at the 104. But today it was like 81, 82. I'm like, what? So I didn't believe it until I got up here, because usually once I get up here I feel the true hell that Vegas can be. And like I said, I got my door open, no air's on. I mean, it's nice, got a breeze coming in. So what a perfect day. Like I said, I wish I could bottle weather like this up, but I know I cannot. How you doing, Spidey?
Yo, how do I sound?
Sound fine.
Okay, I'm not at my house right now. I'm doing this from my phone, so I didn't know if it came up. How's it going, Clint? How's it going, William?
Doing all right. Just doing a Patreon stream to show. Got to do at least once or twice a month. Let the Patreons know I care.
My new panel is a trivia. It's in response to what you said last night, and it's trivia. So, A, what's the panel? B, I'll get to my point after you figure out the panel. I know you know the panel. If you don't, I'll let you know.
What are you smoking?
I remember this.
Okay, so that's Ultimate Spider-Man from 2000. That's his first meeting in an actual fight against the Kingpin, not when he tried to crash the party and smacked into the window. And he got his ass kicked the first time. And when he came back with the joke book, and he was talking shit the whole fight while Kingpin was missing everything. And the panel right here is, you're so fat when you cut yourself shave, a marshmallow puff comes out. He was doing that for the whole fight. But I really brought that up to go back to our point from yesterday, because I know you're a huge Daredevil fan, as am I, and you have this one villain rule with the Kingpin and the Daredevil. So it's like the Kingpin's not the main New York bad guy, and he's not a major Spider-Man villain, even though he shows up in a fuck ton of Spider-Man stories. So
when you
I think he's
consider,
major.
like I said last night, he's going to be a major villain, but he's no longer associated primarily with Spider-Man.
Do you think that's as a result of the Daredevil show?
Yeah, no, that's a result of Frank Miller.
But Spider-Man has,
that.
like, that's going back to that fuckton I was just talking about. Spider-Man has, not only during the Miller era, there's plenty of stories with the Kingpin, but after that, Spider-Man dealt with the Kingpin more than Daredevil did.
You're okay. You're conflating volume of stories with the actual.
But that's what I mean when I say major. Volume definitely. I'm not trying to like just be fuck with you like that. But volume and major, they go together. If the
not necessarily because you figure. Listen, I'll go back to Sony. When Sony, because technically they could have claimed the Kingpin as a Spider-Man villain. They did. It just wasn't.
But Universal did for the Daredevil movie, right? They had.
But that didn't take much movement. That just,
But then Sony did the show right after the Daredevil movie came out. They did the Spider-Man MTV show, and Michael Clark Duncan reprised his role as the Kingpin in that show.
But if you notice, Disney,
that's not Disney.
No, but Disney could technically make a deal for him. But they have, like I said, he's a Daredevil villain at this point. Yeah, I mean, you look at his historical storylines, the last 35 years.
Spider-Man and Daredevil deal with Kingpin all the time.
Not in the same way and not on the same level.
Of course not in the same way. They all have a different route the way they, dole out justice for sure.
But I definitely, if I only have a limited amount of time, like I said, this is where we get out where I think people kind of get it mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
That, and like I said, over and over again, I hate to repeat it, but I think it needs to be stated. Comic books are not movies. Movies are not comic books and TV shows.
And I agree with you on that because Marvel tends to name something after the movie and after the book, and then they drop the ball on the story. Not that the story's bad, but why do they name? Why do they name?
It's an adaptation,
yeah. So, but here's what I will
about it though is it's like you have the pacing in a comic book, and the saturation and everything that you can do in a comic book is not the same as what you can do when you only have 2 hours.
I tell you what, though, William, DKR is. 3 hours with both movies, and I understand this is it's not exactly the best example, but DKR is 4 issues and it's done in the same, and it's done over 2 movies, so each movie or whatever is 45 minutes for the half. Usually, like especially like manga, and I know it's again not an exact thing, but a lot of mangas are adapted 1-to-1 into their anime. A lot of mangas will do either 2 chapters per show or 1 chapter per show, but what I find is on average 32 pages comes out to be in about 25 minutes of.
Well, those are direct adaptations, though. Movies are not necessarily. Yeah, so
that's also. One of the ways I appreciate Zach's work is like in Man of Steel, when Superman's telling people to go into the house, and then the person goes in the house, you see them close the door, and then you see them lock the door, and there's an emphasis on that. And there's other things that do that, but that is exactly what you would see in a comic panel through action. 3 panels like that to say. This person went in the house and then locked their door because it was a dangerous situation. Zach does stuff like that in movies, and other people do, to be fair. But they
choose aspects. You can choose aspects, but it's like I said, the storytelling mechanism in a movie is completely different.
There's a lot of factors that go. Yeah.
When you start having guest stars and stuff, you can have as many guest stars in if you're doing, like I said. Yeah, you even have to be careful in a series. You really shouldn't overload it in a series. But in a movie, it's definitely a no-go because of the fact that you end up leaving a lot on the table when you introduce too much. That's the problem.
Yeah,
you just don't have to.
I think Marvel had a grasp on that, and they might have dropped the ball because I guess the idea is it should have you wanting more. Because in I don't want to go off on a bad tangent, but Todd McFarlane was the king. Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man is the king of guest stars. You know what I mean? So when you're
but him and Michelini did it. You see how they did it though. They kind of, you had one overarching background story, but you would bring in the Hobgoblin and Green Goblin. You would bring in Venom. You would bring in Rhino. It was basically like a tour de force, and he could kind of do that because they knew that they always had next month.
Do you remember
always had next month?
Do you remember Eddie's return in Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man? And Spider-Man went to go get help from the Fantastic Four, and he literally for like 1 or 2 panels he's talking to Ben, and then it just jumps back out of the story. And Eddie's return is Eddie stalking Peter and harassing his aunt and everything until Peter has enough with him. He does the fight, tries to take the symbiote back during the fight. But that's like a good example. Again, I'll give you that. If you're watching an MCU movie and there's if it's not done right, like the Daredevil the 3 minutes the Daredevil was in Spider-Man No Way Home, if that was not handled right, then it wouldn't amount to too much. I think obviously that movie's like a lot of fan service, but I guess that plays into it. But going back to your point before I lose it about Daredevil and Kingpin, I will give you that. That's the most intimate. Matt Murdock has the most intimate adversarial relationship with Wilson Fisk. I'll give you that. But I'm not gonna. Wilson Fisk is the New York bad guy, William. You know that.
Well, he is, but here's the thing: when he deals with Spider-Man, he almost never deals with him directly.
Yeah, he always sends people after him, and then Spider-Man goes back to his office like a Clark Kent, Lex Luthor situation at the end. But he talks shit instead of
When he deals with Daredevil, especially lately, it's directly with Daredevil.
It's always personal. It's always a fucking fist fight. It's always I'll do it at his house, whatever.
Hi, Ray.
What's going on, Ray?
So, Brad, did you ever watch Flash Gordon, the 1980 movie?
Oh yeah, I saw your comment about that last night. No, I have not seen the original.
Oh, good. That'll be a treat for you then.
Okay, is that on the docket or what?
It might be. I'm trying to get William to do it. I've been trying to get him for months now.
Well, I mean, it's it can't be worse than Howard the Duck. So I mean,
oh, it's a bad movie.
No, it's not even.
It's a really bad movie with a great soundtrack and cool.
I think Flash Gordon is great for 1980. We just have to fit it in.
Well, plus
I remember it's 1980 with Queen. With Queen, but it's also it's kind of high budget for the time. What they did was they did a lot of stuff on a soundstage.
It's very European, that's for sure.
Yeah. Empire came out in 80, right?
Yeah, Empire came out. Empire came out in 80. Superman 2 came out in 80. Hold on, I'll be right back.
And also, this show also really confuses mythology with fantasy.
Okay.
What's that?
Mythology is you may fight a fantastical creature, but you're still on Earth. You're still just a human fighting a mystical creature on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy is you're not on Earth. You're on some land. There's other beings on that land.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be humans, but they're not fighting on a continent somewhere on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting on some other land. That's fantasy. That's why before Tolkien, everything was mythology. Mythology. It was humans fighting on Earth mystical creatures or mythical creatures. But after Tolkien, the fantasy genre took over.
Oof, Tolkien. I came in at the wrong time.
Well, this is my show, damn it.
Tolkien. I mean, I can't. Well, I'm trying to keep the viewers awake, and Tolkien is like Benadryl.
I don't know why you don't like the movies. I mean, there's plenty of
dude. It's just so there's some excellent elements to the movies. It just takes so long to get to anything I care about in them. It's just it loses me.
Do you feel if you would have watched the movie as like an 8-year-old and had a better sense?
No,
you would have,
because the books bored me too. My first grade teacher, Miss Madera, I will never forget this woman. She brought a lot of good into my life, but man, she brought some bad. She read those. Man, she loved she loved those books.
First grade, you were reading that?
Yeah, she loved
first grade. I was reading James and the Giant Peach.
Well, first grade you can read
The Hobbit. A lot about your education, Brad.
There you go, man.
The Hobbit's for younger people.
Yeah. We read the Lord of the Rings books, and it was, or she would read them, and she was reading along, and so she would take it took us forever to get through it because she would take a certain amount of time right after lunch, and I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And then with my favorite, I love that teacher.
PTSD from reading.
Yeah, I love that teacher, but man, when she had a substitute, that meant we didn't have to read that shit. Because whoa, boy, and it just like I said, the movies. I'm like, okay, these are movies, but dude. The movies, I remember seeing one of those movies before I went to deployment. I'm like, wow, I get through this. and they weren't bad. It was just like I said, it was consistent with the Tolkien book. They bore the shit out of me. But everybody's different, man. I mean, I'm not, I can read 1984 over and over again from George Orwell, and that puts some people to sleep. So it's all about what your thing is and what gets you going. So there you go. Let's see. So like I said, Patreons, your link is in your inbox. Tried to set up the YouTube one. I'm having a problem with it, and I sent them an email because StreamYard, one of the better things about StreamYard is it's easy to set up a stream, but on the function on through the YouTube Studio is not the same. And when you're trying to do something exclusively for members, StreamYard doesn't help. It doesn't give you that classification to pick your members, so they won't feel
I don't
special
know.
when I do it.
I don't know if this is just me, William, but all day for me, YouTube has been acting up.
Yeah, it's been. I'm used to StreamYard fucking up. I mean, StreamYard is like I expect. I just don't know what kind of fuck up StreamYard is going to give me.
Right.
I just don't. I know StreamYard is going to fuck something up. I know it. I can get tonight when we go live. Going to be the same thing. I just don't know what it is. It's like, oh, it's that one again type of situation. So, but it's easy to use.
I've been gone for a while. Did I hear maybe in passing that you did another bell test, or you got to the top of your?
Are you guys?
Oh, me? Yeah. Yeah. In Tang Sudo, yeah, specifically, I just got my earned my black belt about 3 weeks ago.
So how many pun intended, how many arts do you have under your belt?
How many? What have I? What different disciplines I've been in?
You're multi.
Yeah. So I mean, I started in Taekwondo when I was a teenager. Which I earned a second degree black belt in that. Then it's a couple I'll come back to in a minute. I got a little bit in Aikido. I got a little bit in Aikido when I was starting college. That's not really my specialty, but I'm fairly familiar with a lot of it. Then I got into Shaolin Chonfa, which is kind of predicated on the Shaolin Five Animals. Of Kung Fu. Really got my feet wet in that. I'm pretty Chinese. Don't really use kind of it's interesting because like a lot of different we associate belts with mainly with Korean and Japanese arts. A lot of different the Chinese, Vietnamese, and Thai and Indonesia styles. They don't really use like the same kind of ranking system or belt system to denote progress. But I pretty advanced with that. With Chonfa, and then in college I also got into Shotokan karate, which I have a brown belt in that, and then the school I'm at now, there's a couple different disciplines taught there. One of them is American Tang Sudo, which is actually founded by Chuck Norris. It's kind of a hybrid of a Korean Tang Sudo with Hapkido, Judo, Shitaru, and Shotokan, and I just got my earned my black belt in that 3 weeks ago. And then also a couple other things I'm doing right now. I actually had some experience with before. One of them is Krav Maga, which I did that for about a year back in high school. Right when while I was doing Taekwondo, and I only got into a year of that before we graduated, and family moved away, so I didn't get too advanced to that. So I kind of came back to that once it started here at the school. Oh, William, you're my co-host, and so I got to my green belt in that. Back in December. I've actually got another striping test coming up for that just after 4th of July. And green belt's kind of like the middle rank in Krav Maga. So there's a year between each, and then there's blue, brown, and black after that. So let's continue with that. And then also right now I'm also involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been at that for about a year, and also that I had done it for about a year back in college. But again, with that Krav Maga, I'd been kind of away from those for long enough that starting back here was kind of like basically starting fresh with those. And BJJ, I just actually got my third stripe on that and on my white belt, which means I'm getting fairly close to coming up to blue belt, which is the first color belt.
This is a great troll, Brad.
Oh, Brad.
Look, why do you ask me like what my background is?
Exciting, guys. I was excited.
There's a lot else.
About eight or nine, right?
That's about 6. Yeah.
Okay, so six out of 127, and then you might be able to keep up with it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But, I mean, there's a lot that I still want to keep. I mean, you're always learning. I mean, there's a lot I still want to. I mean,
I'm a 3rd degree black belt and running away.
There you go.
Oh, that's
he's still around too. That shit works.
Yeah, no, yeah. But there's a lot I still want to study. There's different disciplines of Shaolin Kung Fu. I want to get it, really get in deep with. I also love to like take up things like Salat or Vovinam. So there's lots of things I definitely want to continue learning, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And yeah, of course, kangaroo kicking. That's also.
Mouse.
And see, and William just keeps denying the obvious that Aaron's my baby sis from Australia.
Yeah.
It's a,
Creepy.
Brad, has Aaron ever admitted that on air?
oh well, come on. So, yeah, he's made it on social media.
Not a come on question.
Like, do we even have to? It goes without saying. It's like
no, it goes with saying. And are we done with kung fu?
Well, again, he asked my background. I gave it. So
why? Certain questions just need to be off.
William, I like to fuck with you too, just like I like to fuck with Brad. But there's ways we got to do it. You know what I mean?
Like putting me to sleep with Brad's kung fu history.
So William, like,
Brad was doing a masterful troll, man.
He asked me what I've studied, and I shared what I studied. So.
All right.
He asked what degrees were on your belt, not what you've studied.
William.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm gonna say this again, and I've been saying it. Okay, read the fucking Storm book, dude. So maybe 8 issues or 9 or something like that. Read it. It's great.
I'll get around to it. I mean, I'm not reading. I just there's a lot of shit that I'm reading right now.
I get you. That's just my recommendation. So read it.
I have them all. Let's see. Let me see if I can find this person.
It's interesting too, because we have a little bit of fun on here at Steven Seagal's expense. Because when I did Aikido, again, that's not like one of my higher level ones, but I know pretty good amount of throws, and instead of Aikido, that is, for those of you who may not be aware, that's the discipline that Steven Seagal practices. But he practices, but maybe not necessarily that well, because you've seen his fight scenes in the last after like movie 6 or 7, his fight scenes kind of like go downhill.
I think Clint actually might have Seagal beat in his running game too, at being a third. hey, William, can you get us a shot of Steven
Seagal like running like that? Like
anywhere, please? Can we get like a 5-second shot of Steven Seagal running? That's not going to get you kicked off.
Where do I even find that?
No, Scott,
I still say you should have open panel for like maybe 5 minutes or so, just because those are fun for everybody. It really is. Maybe not
everyone except me. Yeah, those are a blast.
William, you're trying to take serious comic books.
No, it's not the fact that I take that seriously, but that I just don't like chaos. And it is, when you watch those shows back, I'm putting myself in the.
It makes me laugh when I watch those shows.
Yeah,
back.
but I'm putting myself in the seat of a new listener. There's some of those things I would not come back for.
Are you talking about the whole thing about like Zod? I mean, you're talking about things like Zod had been floating after his neck broken and all that. I
mean, and just like hollering and screaming and shit. So it just gets out of hand. It's like that's not what I do the show for. I can go to shows for that. I just and then I don't even watch shows like that anymore. There's a lot of YouTube I just don't watch anymore because, like I said, it's just a chaotic conversation that I wouldn't even have in person. It's not the content of the conversation or whether I'm taking myself or this stuff seriously or not. It's the tone and tenor of the conversation, because you can't have a conversation if there's no structure. You just have a bunch of people, talking at the playground. It's like over each other screaming. It's just like, I've never been an open panel guy to begin with.
Yeah, here you go, Spidey.
Well, that's why I said only like 5 minutes or so, not, to where you have control and can just stop it.
Well, I might do like later on. I might do, like you said, bring on people one at a time, and they have a time limit. Like I did that one after.
You got to always have an Omega Zone every time, because that's top quality entertainment, dude.
No, that is not.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you got, like I said, he'll pop up on another show somewhere, and you guys can have your fun with him right there. And
I think his best dynamic is on your show, William. Yeah, because he definitely brings the best out of you.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Like I said, there's a million YouTube channels out there, and a lot of them that suits a lot of them just doesn't suit. So, all right. Any of my patrons got any?
So I saw rumors. I don't follow movies like everyone else here does, but just randomly I saw like Pedro Pascal was talking about bad about Fantastic Four or something. Is that all true, or is that just rumor mill?
Nah, he's not.
What do you mean talking bad? Is he doing like Josh Trank did, or what?
I really don't know. I just saw.
Dismiss it completely. I would dismiss it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, 100%.
What I'm not clear. Like, what do you mean? Like talking, like musically, like saying, like the movie I'm in is shit or something?
Well, if we don't have any, if we don't have any context, we should leave it right there, because that's what a rumor does. A rumor is like
right. I'm not saying I'm believing it or not. I'm asking for clarification.
I have seen nothing, and I have nothing to clarify with it since we don't.
I heard Pedro Pascal said that he was Mr. Fantastic in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie.
That's pretty much.
Well, I mean, that's like, I mean, I think we can probably that's a rumor we could take with like some degree
from what I vaguely remember from reading, he just didn't like all the reshoots. He did and all that and all the new editing to it. But what do I know? I don't know anything. I don't even.
Let's see.
I don't know. I don't follow the EBITDA of the studios. You know what I mean?
Well, see, I think if there's any truth to that, it's probably because if there's any truth to him like not liking the reshoots or whatever, it probably a lot of it boils down to the fact the man's just busy as hell. I mean, Pedro Pascal is in like 80% of what we see now. I mean, he's in The Mandalorian, he's in Fantastic Four, he's in Kingsman, he's in Wonder Woman 84, he's in this. I mean, I don't know when the dude like has time for anything, but he's all over the place. It's like,
we were momentarily talking about the Cosmic Ghost Rider yesterday. I mean, you were more like shuffling it away, but incidentally, Peter is a cosmic being now in Spider-Man. They split his body, and they got a cosmic Spider-Man and an Earthbound Spider-Man. Oh, or I guess that's coming out.
Which is if you ever need to know what the problem is when it comes to.
You think that's going to be like a Soul Stone or a Cosmic Cube type thing to split them up and give them to a place to work at, or what?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a quarter comic sooner than later. Is what it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be unless it serves the story it's in. I'm sure it's just going to be.
It's almost like they're trying things with Spider-Man. The current Spider-Man run is decent. The one with the Hobgoblin is decent, but some of the other stuff that they've been doing is just really just.
Consider this: he's friend when Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel. Peter Parker was her friend. So I mean, I guess that opens up an opportunity for Spider-Man to work with Carol Danvers in space or whatever. You know what I mean?
Nah, Spidey in space is a non-starter for me.
Unless it's the original Secret Wars and I get my black costume.
Yeah, for a couple of minutes. It took Spider-Man 8 years. 8 years.
In Infinity War, man.
No, Spider-Man in space is a non-starter for me. I've never.
He's in space in Infinity War.
Okay,
he's with other people, but he's in space.
Yeah, and look how many minutes on this fucking show have I spent with my disdain of how Spider-Man Jr. was basically a passenger on an Avengers ship. Spider-Man proper doesn't.
Well, it was a Black Order ship, not an Avengers ship. Tony hijacked the Black Order ship from Thanos.
Spider-Man needs gravity to work.
Yeah, Spider-Man needs Manhattan. That's what Spider-Man needs.
Yeah, buildings. And
once Spider-Man leaves Manhattan, he leaves the friendly neighborhood. I start giving less of a shit the further he gets away from Manhattan. When he starts ends up on ships and galactic conquest and all kinds of stuff, there's so many other Marvel superheroes that fit that bill, and there's a bill that Spider-Man fits, and that's where he should be. Like I said, the whole point, and we got some questions from our thing last night. I'm going to answer tonight at the Sunday night show, because, like I said, as somebody who grew up with comic books, I understand. My small brain went, "Oh wow, let's mix this guy with this guy and that guy with that guy." But as my fucking brain enlarged, I'm like, "Ooh, this is a disaster." Like I said, it's that salad that if you don't make the salad right, it's going to taste like shit. If you just go in your refrigerator and dump everything that's in your refrigerator into a bowl and eat it, you're probably going to fucking throw up. But if you make a salad, like I said, not everything goes together. I don't know why grown people don't get that concept. I don't understand. Just because it looks cool. Listen, I got a bottle of apple juice. Then there's a bottle of Pine Sol over there. Hey, they're both here. They're going to go together? No. What's going to happen? It's going to be a disaster. Not everything that's in proximity needs to go together.
With that apple juice good enough, you could definitely.
I could definitely die. Is what I could do. I could definitely poison myself. So I think that you have to resist.
I think that's kind of an extreme analogy. Like, man,
no, it's the same. You have to resist the attract unless it fits the story. And a lot of times, once again, you have such limited real estate on these movies to tell your story. And if it's a flagship character, it's even more pressure for you because that character drives the story. And especially when you have other apparatuses to tell these other stories. I got a place I can go and watch Punisher story. It's a damn good one.
Okay,
I got a place I can go and watch a Daredevil story.
But
I don't need them. This is the 2 hours I'm dedicating to Spider-Man. Like I said last night, Spider-Man, the villain, his inner circle. That's your movie.
You've heard the famous saying, William, that only a Sith deals in absolutes, buddy.
Yeah.
I can meet you.
But a Sith has more than 2 hours.
I can meet you on both sides of your argument.
Sith has 1,000 years to deal with.
I can meet you on both sides of your argument. Yes, you can overstuff a movie, and yes, you can do it to the point where it gets lazy and full of fan service. But you also got to remember, William, pretty much in the late 80s, all the way through the 90s, in the mid 2000s, we were inundated with origin stories with one hero in a singular world over and over and over again.
Right.
So as
your
a fan,
argument's dead on arrival. You know why?
Listen though. Let me finish. So just like you, I'm a fan and I want to see the shit, and I only got 2 hours to do it. So I don't want it to I don't want to keep seeing the same shit over, and I would like to see new things, but then also it can be overdone. So it's got to be somewhere in the middle. So maybe if they
repeat what you just said, the first thing you just said.
Only Sith deals in absolutes, or I can
no. Back in the 80s and the 90s.
80s, 90s to the mid 2000s, we were inundated with origin stories.
Time out.
That's fucking almost 20 years of that shit.
Time out. We're not in the 80s. We're not in the 90s.
But me and you exist. I know you exist.
Hold on. We're not talking about movies. We're not talking about movies. I was there in the 80s and 90s. We're talking about two different types of formats of this.
I'm talking
play.
I was mistaken because I thought you were talking about spending 2 hours watching the Spider-Man movie. That's what I'm
talking about 2 hours to tell your story. So you have 2 hours to tell your story.
Okay, but then that's almost that's a straw man argument because none of these stories are 2 hours, and they're all at least two other sequels. So usually their stories at least
not necessarily. When you're writing a screenplay, you're not writing a comic.
Ant-Man got a part 3. Harley Quinn got a part 3. Shazam got a part 3. Everybody.
Now we're going on with bad decisions.
I'm just saying what it is. I'm not saying the decision was good. I'm just pointing out to you that 2 hours is maybe not.
Well, if you're gonna point out, you need to point out things that actually went right and should have.
Here's the thought.
No, just an example to knock your straw man over. That was all.
Well, here's an example I'd use. Here's an example I'd use. Let's say that the mayor of New York is like plotting some like big Machiavellian scheme, and you are you are the singular vigilante here.
Hold on.
And you have to build a team. You have to build a team.
Just to let the viewing audience that is just coming on, this argument crashed and burned the first time you made it. But go ahead.
So you have to take this crime boss down, who's got like his own his army behind him. He's got all these resources, everything in his corner. You're one man, and you have to build an army to do this. So building this army, okay, who do you find would be more tactically helpful to this this coming conflict? Would it be rounding up as many homeless people as you can, or would it be, let's say, a chick with super strength, a guy with a breakable skin, and a dude with a glowing iron fist? Who would be like the most useful ally to have in that situation?
I'm glad that you're good at this kung fu and journalist thing. If I would need to lock you out of where the screenplays are being done. Wherever the writing for like multi-million-dollar movies, I need you not to have a key to that vault.
Well,
I need to keep you away. I need to hire as many people to keep you out of the writer's room as I do for stunt doubles.
This is why William is like he's
because you're thinking like a fanboy.
I'm thinking tactically.
No, you don't. You know exactly
the adversary.
I think we all would be better off if Marvel hired directors that actually read the comic books instead of did a fucking.
No, that would be a bonus.
No, it's not, because the people that got making these movies, like you say it all the time, most of the Marvel movies are trash and they're in service.
No. If I'm making a movie, I need you to know how to make movies first.
No, that's fine. You're not going to hire a director that doesn't know how to make movies, because there's millions of people out here who are filmmakers, and all of them
are. But there's plenty of great comic book movies made by people that don't read comics. That's not a prerequisite. That's a bonus. That's not I don't need that. I don't need that.
So
I need to know how to tell a story.
So to change the subject really bad.
Hold on, I don't want to change the subject yet, because here's the thing.
Okay.
Comic books are comic books. Movies are movies. Period. That's the ending and the beginning of it.
William,
all right, go ahead.
Because Clint wants to move on. I will say I appreciate because I have not been on your channel in so long. I do appreciate having an argument with a geek on geek level, because that's.
Oh no, I'm not. that's fine. Whatever you're doing, I'm just saying. I just wanted to clarify something I said a while back about the Thunderbolts, and why I think why it failed is because the movie was really impossible to understand. Because I'm watching it not knowing anything about the comics, and the guy's turning black, and this black inky is making people disappear, and I'm thinking to myself, what's happening here? Are they getting killed? Are they getting disintegrated? What is this black thing that's coming out? I don't understand what's going on. Now, the gist of the story I got was, hey, you're not alone. This is mental illness. But I mean, when it actually happened, me not knowing anything about the comics, I'm going, is he killing people? Is it making a black hole? I don't know what's going on. So that's
I know you're not a
You're
comic reader,
confused.
but when his story first came out, that's exactly how it, just the way you said it, that's how it came out, because they just brought him out of the blue because it was a retcon. He had wiped everybody's mind. So everything that you're describing right now, as a comic reader, when that story, it's a Marvel Knight story, right, William? When that story came up, you're just like, who the fuck is this guy? So, and it's very mysterious like that. And then over time, of course, you learn more about how Century is. Because he just comes out of nowhere. He had saved the world, whatever.
But you can't really do that in a movie.
Well, it's actually perfect for the Marvel movies because they actually do the Century thing all the time, where they look at Ant-Man, where they introduce him, say, "Oh, actually, he was here the whole time in the '60s." And then you do Fantastic Four, you say, "Oh, they're in another dimension," so they're coming back. And then you look at Century's story, and it's, he actually did something a long time ago, but he wiped everybody's mind. That's what I'm saying. There was no previous context at all when his original story dropped. So doing it in a movie is almost the perfect place to do it, because you can just add a new character in and say, "Oh, he was here before, but nobody remembers." I'm not saying that's necessarily the best plot point, but I say
the movie wasn't made for first-time Marvel viewers, but at this point, 31 billion into it, 31 movies into it, they don't need that. If you were to watch this for the very first time, they know where their market is, and they think, okay, if you had any questions about this movie, this is how they're thinking. They got an entire library of movies for you to watch. They'll say, go watch Black Widow, go watch, and they're going to figure, if you're not willing to do that, then you weren't their market. But they're at the point in the game where they can put this kind of movie out, and they know what their market is, and they know they got a good chance of gaining a new market that'll go do the new things. There are going to be a percentage of people that are going to be confused, but a lot of things that were introduced in Thunderbolts are add-ons to other things that if you didn't watch those, you don't understand those. But they're making a bet, and monetarily, so far they're right, that you're already involved into this culture, and if you're looking to get in, you're willing to do the homework to do it. Most of their movies, though, at the front end of MCU, you didn't have to do a lot of homework to enjoy them. But as we got on into the more volume and then past Infinity Saga, most of these things are connected. Not only now are you going to have to understand the MCU, but there are certain aspects about the Fox universes and things like that you might have to, especially when Secret Wars introduces and reintroduces all this stuff. So I can see where Clint's coming from. It's just that they hedged their best. They were making this movie for people who already understood what the culture was, and some people got left out. So
how you doing, Aaron? It's been a minute. How you doing? All right?
Yeah, pretty good. I just saw a tweet by Wardlow. He said, "Hey, James Gunn, if you need a Bane and Dave Bautista is busy, I'm your guy."
That was for Williams.
Actually, it's interesting you should mention that, Aaron, because David, he actually is kind of busy because he's actually apparently going to be the bad guy in Roadhouse 2.
Yeah, so Wardlow is campaigning to be James Gunn.
Well, see, it's a perfect role for Wardlow because he can't act. He's not an actor. He has never had any prior that I know. I think he's done some commercials.
If somebody is portraying a character you don't like, then it doesn't matter if they're a decent.
But you don't need. Listen, you can go ahead and play him. Don't take Dave Bautista, who is literally getting better with each role.
But they just said it's not going to be Dave Bautista.
That's all I care about at this point. I don't need you to go back to first grade.
I mean, he might as well be Bane if he's the bad guy in Roadhouse 2.
I mean, to
be honest with you, I'm kind of disappointed there too. I'm glad that Dave Bautista's getting roles, but I've seen the whole
to be like Blade Runner 2049 more,
or some of the. I mean, what's the dude? I can't the name with the M. Night Shyamalan one.
The Shyamalan movie that came out.
That is one of his best roles.
Oh, Cabin in the not
Cabin in the Woods. That
No, Cabin in the Woods is the Joss Whedon horror comedy with Thor in it.
Yeah.
He's
Knock at the
he's
Cabin.
done the work. He's done the work to be that kind of cerebral actor. Yeah, I know he's big. He's 6'4". He can be muscle bound. He can do all that stuff. Those are roles are going to come to him. But there's only going to be how long is he's 57 years old? How much more acting is he going to do at this level? Now he's gotten that good.
Harrison Ford was just the Hulk, and he's like 206. Plus, he was in.
Yeah, but he was never the type of. He spent his entire. He's a carpenter, but he got into acting heavily late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. Dave Bautista was in his 40s. He had been wrestling for 20-something.
But wrestling is acting too, right?
To a point. I'm
talking about the character you portray.
Okay, so you can do certain roles.
The story you're doing, not the character, right?
Yeah, the story. Yeah. I think Dave Bautista is better suited for adapting to long range and more detailed stories than a lot of other wrestlers who've got into acting. And I just like to see him.
We all think Hulk Hogan was, suburban fucking Commando was awful.
Okay, there you go.
But we got The Rock and we got Bautista, so we're good, right?
Yeah, well, the Bautista out of all the ones who left the ring to go wrestling is by far the best one. And like I said, Roadhouse that was a fun movie. But I'm like, okay, I get to see Dave Bautista break shit up and beat people up. I've seen that. I'm just curious to see what else I would like to see him get to an Academy Award level. I'm not saying he would win one, but I would like to see him get those kind of roles that are in that.
He might get it for the stunt category now.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but like the actual best, supporting, things like that, Golden Globe level like that, because I think that guy has the potential to do it if he's given the right roles, and he's been very good about taking roles.
He also has the potential to do it if the Academy. They actually have to watch the stuff too, as we discovered recently.
Oh yeah, but that's its old shit show for a different stream.
How do you get away with not watching movies and you're the fucking film academy? Like, how's that work?
Like I said, I had no answer for you then.
I was laughing so hard.
You think you're going to do an AI summary and you can text your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever while you weren't watching the fucking movie? Like, what is?
Yeah, I could not make it through that rereading.
It's all about who blows the most smoke up the derrieres of people.
And I guess if you're in the academy, they're filmmakers or they're actors, right? So you're scratching your buddy's back too as part of that.
Well, they're not even doing that. In order to do anything you guys just said, you actually have to watch something. They're not even voting for their friends. They're letting their fucking staffers vote. Their friends, they don't know who anybody is. So yeah,
how far up your own ass do you have to be to not watch other movies in your industry that you work in?
Well, not even just in your industry. Remember, it's not just the whole of the industry; it's the academy. If you're in the academy, which is a subset of all that, I expect the people that have voluntarily become part of the academy to just do that. The very bare minimum is to watch the movies.
Hey, William, I don't want to be too disruptive, but you do have a Twitter or a Twitch visitor in here, like a new person. It looks like. And the numbers set the chat up, and William Fly Rye, Larry's here.
Hello, Jack Foster, 37. How are you doing? That's the only one I see. Where's Larry?
Larry Clark.
I would love to see Dave Bautista do like a drama type role.
Well, he's done a few so far.
He's done a couple. Like I said, I would like to see him do more of that because once again, I don't want to see a reverse Jim Carrey situation to where
what was that Cabin in the Woods? Was that
was Knock at the Cabin?
Knock at the Cabin. Still got a mug from that. But yeah, I don't want to see a reverse Jim Carrey to the point where he gets gets front loaded with buffoonery, and then when you finally see a couple of roles, and you're like, well, dude, that guy's a really good dramatic actor. Now,
but he had to do a number 23 in between both of those just to be a palate cleanser to either of them.
Yeah, and it's like he's in which Jim Carrey's 60? Is he 70? I don't know how old he is now, but I know he's
60.
Yeah, so he's got a couple more years. He says he stopped acting. He comes out for to be in Sonic and things like that. But
that's a big check, probably though. That's Sonic.
It's a big check. But I don't think he's hurting for cash. I'm just wondering if that. I'd like to ask him. If the one question I've ever wanted to ask Jim Carrey, if I ever did meet him, is like, when you look back at your career as a whole, out of all the movies you did, I know you had fun doing them all, but do you regret not being able to get certain roles like Eternal Sunshine or Truman Show? And did you feel like you were typecasted because of Ace Ventura, Cable Guy, and things like that? Because if I didn't think the guy was a better actor than any of that, I wouldn't care. Some actors are just buffoons, and that's all they're going to be. That's where they're going to make their money. They will never go out of that, and that's fine. But you see a different dimension in a guy like a Jim Carrey. You're like, wow, dude, how many years did we blow on, dumb, bathroom fart jokes versus.
And that's the same point I used to you about superhero movies. How many fucking years did we have to spend going in fucking intro and origin stories? It's the same until we finally.
I don't think that's the same because
I'm just talking about paradigm change. I'm not saying this exact one-to-one example. I'm just talking.
No, because we're talking about an individual's career.
I'm talking about
versus
expectations.
an industry.
I don't know what we're.
You're talking about an industry. I'm talking about an individual's career. The industry dictates a lot more things, but one guy, as far as him being able to get roles, is not always going to be up to him. It may not have been up to Jim Carrey what kind of roles were offered to him. Like I said, if you were some guy who just, if you just say, "Oh, that's the dude from Ace Ventura," and you're the casting director, and back in the mid '90s, they didn't really do a great job in a lot of different movies. I think if it was in the late 2000s, 2010s, it would have been different because Heath Ledger would have never been chosen for Joker if they were doing things like they did in the 90s. So I just think it was, I don't want to say unfortunate. It's like he's living in a poorhouse or nothing about that. But I don't want to see that for Dave Bautista, especially when his career is a quarter of the length with Jim Carrey's is.
Well, with Carrey specifically, I mean, there's I kind of think of like the Joker quote of like saying, "If you're good at something, don't do it for free." And he's Jim Carrey. I think it's speaks for itself. He's good at making people laugh, and he didn't do it for free. So,
he should have done the Riddler for free.
No, and he got paid. He's going to get paid no matter what.
I'm just going off of Brad's point.
What if he had taken an approach? Go ahead, Clint.
The Cable Guy wasn't really a comedy at all.
No,
it's a black comedy. It was like his first like dark comedy.
That's a very segregated kind of way of looking at comedy, Brad. I didn't know you were like that.
It's there. It is an actual term.
I don't need you to explain comedy to me, Brad. I get it. I'm just fucking. That's called a joke.
Take the different when the roles that he's taken, he takes a different approach. That, like I said, I wonder if Jim Carrey would have taken the same approach that Dave Bautista. What kind of roles would he have gotten? Would he be known for buffoonery? Or would he be known for things that would have gotten him, like The Truman Show, would have gotten more roles like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or 23, things like that? Because I think a lot of it was typecasting. And, typecasting in the 90s, and it carried over. Now here you are, 60-something years old. I mean, I'm just curious. If he could answer and be like, you know what, I was okay with all the buffoonery. I was 100% on. I know I don't regret it. And that would answer my question. I'm not saying that as a statement. I'm just wondering, at this point, with the diversity that he showed towards the end there, I wonder if he regrets not being able to get more roles like that. Because he is. I think he's a better actor than what he's put out.
Did you like Man on the Moon?
Yes.
Do you think that's why he started making serious movies because of what happened?
I think so.
I think right before that, so there was a little like a
Truman Show was before that, but Man on the Moon was like that was one.
The character study he was doing was somebody who never got. He was always treated like a joke. So
Yeah, Andy Kaufman, and I think as he searched for that role, he saw a lot of parallels.
You don't want to be a facsimile or have the same kind of.
Well, and I think he saw a lot of parallels in what was happening because Andy Kaufman's a kind of a tragic story, especially because he died young. Andy Kaufman.
That's depending on if you believe that whether or not the whole conspiracy theory there.
He's dead.
he's gonna come out.
Andy Kaufman died young, and he was known for certain things because certain things back in the 80s clicked. The thing you did with Jerry Lawler clicked. These are things that click, and your boss just ran with whatever clicked. But he was a much more diverse and talented guy. If you look at some of the documentaries, some of the shows, some of the things he did, he was capable of a lot of things. And if I'm Jim Carrey, maybe I'm studying this man because I'm going to play this man. And you're seeing yourself in now, and that's where I think that he started looking for other roles. But at that time, I don't know if it mattered what he wanted to do. What he was looking for is the people that ran these companies like, oh, you want to be serious now? Well, give me the head out of the rhinoceros's ass. That's what I want to see. And I think that's I'm not trying to be funny, but I just think that's I'm wondering. Like I said, if I ever got a chance to ask a guy, did you want to do more of these roles, and were you stopped because of who you were in the 90s, and that's all people wanted?
I think you hit it right on the head when you said typecast, because he was a huge star in the 90s doing comedies, so he could have kept doing that fine, and I think
he was funny even after he died with having his friend do the Tony Clifton character.
Oh, you're talking about Kaufman?
Yeah.
It's there was, like I said, I think that was a turning point for him. Because Man on the Moon was a critical hit for him, and you had a lot of people who had dismissed him. I remember watching critics' reviews of that. People pretty much dismissed you would see them review Ace Ventura, you would see them review these other movies, and they would pretty much just dismiss it as what it was. Whereas they would review his movies like that and Eternal Sunshine. I remember the big upset that happened because he didn't get nominated. He should have been
What?
nominated for Best Actor or Best Supporter. Yeah, and that's just where, like I said, I was already losing my luster when it came to the Academy by 2000 after the whole Gladiator fiasco, which was bullshit. But I started to like realize, okay, maybe this isn't worth my time. But in 2004, 2005, he didn't even get nominated for an Oscar. And I'm like, okay, I'm not saying he would have won, but I watched all those movies that got released that year because I was still doing it up in 2008.
What would have been the competition had it been nominated properly and all that in your eyes?
I think Morgan Freeman ended up winning that year.
For what?
For $1 Million Baby. Because I know Kate Winslet got beat out by Hilary Swank. I saw both those movies. And I'm sorry.
You got Tony in the back chat. Chappie is in the back chat.
Oh, was it the time? It was I think $1 Million Baby.
Yeah, I think Morgan Freeman beat him out.
That's
fine, but to not be nominated, he wasn't even nominated for that role. I'm echoing to somebody. Let's see.
See, Hillary. That was the year Hillary Swank.
Hillary Swank won for Best Actress, and like I said, I'm sorry, she was great in that movie. But hold on, I got to find out. I don't know if you guys have watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's Kate Winslet's best performance, and it was the best actress performance of that year.
And Kirsten Dunst is in that, and Mark Ruffalo's in that. There's a lot of people. That's a good movie, actually.
Yeah, I think all right, Jamie Foxx won for Ray. Jamie Foxx won for Ray. Okay. John Cheadle, Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio for The Aviator, Clint Eastwood for $1 Million Baby. I thought that so who I would have left off of this one would have been Clint Eastwood. I think he does an okay performance.
But you think Scott Eastwood should get an Oscar though, right?
Who?
Scott Eastwood. He should get an Oscar at some point.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at his career.
I think the reason why Hillary probably beat out.
Tony said you up 3 times.
She put her body into the role as well.
Okay. Morgan Freeman won for Best Supporting Actor. I wouldn't have even. Jim Carrey should have been because he was actually the best. He was actually the lead in that movie. So yeah, and Eternal Sunshine won it won an Academy Award. Charlie Kaufman and mine. But like I said, it should have been nominated higher than that. Hillary Swank. I said Hillary Clinton. Annette Bening being Julia. Catalina Imelda. This to me, and I saw that movie because we were watching screeners overseas when I was in deployment. So we actually got all these. I saw $1 Million Baby. I liked $1 Million Baby. I thought she was great in $1 Million Baby, but I'm sorry, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But here's the thing: I think that if Jim Carrey had been regarded as a serious actor in serious roles, I don't think that's right. By the way, I don't think that's right. But I think that's what happened. And now the more I learn about the Academy and their shenanigans, I'm almost certain that they said, "Oh, the Ace Ventura guy, like what the hell."
Hey,
Oregon, they did him. They probably did him dirty, and this is probably why he went back to comedy and said, "Well, this is pointless. I might as well be going back to comedy, and that's where I'm going to get all the praise and stuff, get all the comedy awards."
Which is if that's the case, which is very well possibly, that sucks. That sucks because he wasn't allowed to grow. His biggest crime was hitting it with a certain genre, and he's never allowed to grow. That's like I always compare Robin Williams. I think Robin Williams made decisions sooner in his career. I mean, he made certain decisions 2 or 3 movies earlier in his career that I think made it to where he was never going to be typecast in that response. But growing up, the first 10 years of his career, Mork and Mindy, all these, that's what he was known for. In fact, outside of like Popeye and Mork in the 80s, that's who you knew him for. But then here comes Good Morning Vietnam. And then comes The Fisher King. Then comes Awakening. I mean, one after another. And The Fisher King.
He was still doing comedies coinciding with all those.
Yeah, but he was doing a volume of roles. Like, if you haven't seen The Fisher King, man, you need to. And you think if you haven't seen The Fisher King and you think Robert, what's your favorite Robin Williams is. See that movie; it might change it for you because that's his best movie in my opinion. That movie is like I watched that movie when it came out. That movie was like Jeff Bridges is great in it. Mercedes Rules she won her Academy Award for that. She's excellent in it as best supporting actor. But he ran up against this was a time where Robin Williams ran up against Anthony Hopkins and I mean he lost. I think he lost against Hannibal Lecter, which is like damn. The one time you put on that type of performance.
Man, that was my favorite. One of my favorites.
Bicentennial Man.
Bicentennial, yeah. That's my favorite
Not
drama.
even gonna lie, I thought Hook. Hook is a great movie.
Yeah, Hook. Hook is my number one.
Hook's a good movie. I just don't consider that.
I understand. Well, you're like 74 when Hook came out. I understand.
No, I'm like I mean Peter Pan. I mean I like to see somebody do not a serious high budget Peter Pan with him just being a piece.
I mean that was Spielberg. It was relatively high budget. I wouldn't say it's the most serious adult thing ever, but it was definitely high budget.
Hey, William, how dare you say that? $1 Million Baby is a phenomenal film. That is for me the greatest boxing movie ever made.
See, here's the thing, Chappie. You got to have the sound off when you come into the panel, so I don't do open panels. At no point did I say that. I never said that movie was trash, right?
No, he said that he liked it. But
I said I liked it. I'm just saying.
I know
Sunshine.
She deserved that Oscar, okay? She was phenomenal in that film. Hilary Swank gave a performance of a lifetime, okay, for you guys.
Kate Winslet was better in Eternal Sunshine. I'm not taking away anything you just said, but when you put those two together, that's her best role. Hilary Swank, that wasn't even Hilary Swank's best role. Boys Don't Cry.
Titanic was her best role.
Oh, what did you just say?
Titanic.
Titanic.
Well,
listen, Aaron, it's been a great run with you.
Don't get mad. Don't even get mad.
It's been a great run having you.
William decided to retire from the my duties to take over the show.
It's been a great run having you around. But I feel like the only way to make this show run right, I can't.
He has to hand it over to Aaron, so it's like he just did so.
It don't even matter if William doesn't like it. The fucking movie made $2 billion.
I don't care if it made $10 billion. I don't care. You cannot, dude. That's not her best role. Are you being serious?
I don't talk about box office. You know that.
No, I think, and then she won for The Reader. Not even in her top 4. To be honest with you, of best performances.
Larry says The Fighter's one of his.
The problem with the Oscars that the Oscars, for me nowadays, they no longer pick the quote unquote best films.
I don't know if they ever did. I'm fine. The more I learn, I'm starting to realize I want to know how far back this bullshit goes.
Yeah,
because just because you find out about something
was Oppenheimer. That was one of the few times in like one of the last decades, besides
Braveheart,
The Shape of Water, where I was actually happy that it won Best Picture.
Gladiator, but they did a backhand. They gave Gladiator all the awards, but still, and I think they thought this was cute. Still found a way to fuck Ridley Scott. I'm sorry, but Joaquin Phoenix and Ridley Scott should have walked away with statues that night, and neither one of them did. So that's a problem.
That Gladiator.
So now in the context of the chicanery that's gone on with the costumes, I'm like, I understand.
Should have won a Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design. Like Joker was a phenomenal film, and they gave all the awards to Parasite. Who saw Parasite that year?
I saw Parasite.
It was great.
Parasite goes hard.
I like that, and that guy who directed one of my favorite Korean horror movies.
Yeah, no, he's a great filmmaker. Like Parasite,
that movie.
But as far
as that movie, I watched that movie.
Yeah, no, the best movie of the year was Joker. That should have swept all of the awards. Most of them.
I know Parasite.
Don't tell Nerd. I said this because Nerds might do, but I do not mess with that Joker movie. Like that is overrated movie.
The first one I love.
Joker's overrated as shit.
Hey, I love the first two.
Listen, you could say that his performance in it though, I thought was like.
Oh yeah, he did his thing, but the movie itself to me is there.
But Parasite, I was disappointed because I knew that director and I'm like, that director.
Not some Hangover, the Hangover trilogy.
Yeah, the Hangover is good. I like the Hangover movies.
Once again, that tells you should never typecast a director on what a director can do based on what they can do. Because the guy who did the Joker, the same guy who did, Let's Go Get the Tiger and have Mike Tyson singing. That's that guy that mind.
Jonathan Demme.
Chappie, the chat's saying that you should be called Chappie Pascal. What do you think? Get the mustache going. Get the mustache going. You're Mr. Fantastic. What do you think?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. But
World,
they
world famous Chappie says Pedro
What?
can't fuck with him. He
No,
said
no,
Pedro's not on my level.
Spider. What was that, William?
Move to the side. What else you got? You got a
What was
bunch
that?
of cool shit. I might have to rob you. What's that in the background?
Oh yeah, no, it's just all my posters.
God
here.
damn.
And like also
That's
like
a nice. That's a nice setup, dude.
Yeah, no, I have an entire room of posters, and I'll show you my shelf right now. I have an entire. Can you guys see it?
Yeah. Is that Chappie? The black statue Chappie?
This is better. Enoch's
Yeah,
Oh,
no, got
Judge
all
Dredd.
this.
That's the movie Broly?
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie Broly is like one of the greatest fucking movies ever. That is a great fight.
I have one of the robots from Total Recall remake, which is a movie I love personally, have up there, and yep, I got a whole bunch more up here. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of posters in my man cave. But yeah,
that's literally a
Well,
man cave. That's what a man's cave is
I-
supposed to look like.
yeah, and I have
Uncle
like
Banana
movies right
Earthman.
here. See, I have Electra and I have Chappie right here. Of course, gotta have.
Throw that electric one away.
No, it's a good film.
William sounds like a hater.
It's a good film. I
just
stand
looking
by
for
it.
stuff in your
Giving
room like
William
you
a
know.
nerdgasm.
Hey, dude, we're in Florida. Damn it, it's too far.
Yep, I live in Orlando. Okay.
That's a nice. I see Planet of the Apes in the background. Cool. All right, let's see. We got about a couple more minutes left for this, so I can go watch the NBA Finals. But
I got a quick
So speaking of black comedies, are they going to make another Violent Night?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah, that's in the works. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they actually mentioned the sequel soon after that one was done. I had a lot of fun with that movie.
I know.
like
I watch you squeal.
violence. You want some sheer, and it's hard to put violence in a movie that's it just does anything but because once you watch thousands of these movies and you've watched every manner of body part explode or die, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's not entertaining, but you just judge it on a scale of okay, that was a 1 to 10. Violent Night gave you violence that was creative. That was some shit you hadn't seen before. That's hard to do.
William was squealing at the chin scene.
Yeah, the chin scene was like, oh fuck, they did that, and then it got worse from there. It's like that movie doesn't give you a chance to recover from shit.
It's weird that it was from Universal, and Universal was willing to take in Violent Night, but they weren't willing to take in The Substance. Would that be more? Because they wanted to cut that
The
movie.
Substance is far more disturbing and grosser in ways
That's
I think
crazy.
society-wise, I think they were worried about. I'm not saying that they were right, but I think there's one
Yeah, but that
mad violence. Yeah,
in
the
the
Substance
movie,
should have won Demi Moore her Academy Award.
Yeah, see, that's
well, jokes on them. The Substance got all second nominations for the Academy Awards. So
Yeah.
I know it's the first horror to ever do get all those nominations.
I mean, not that Mike Madison's a great actress by any means, but I just feel like Debbie Moore, throughout the entire year of her decade, she should have gotten that award.
Let's just narrow it down to that's 2 movies. I saw Nora, and I'm like, all right. But the role what Demi Moore had to become that particular role was far more, extensive than what Nora was. I'm not saying Nora was bad. It wasn't my type of movie, and she's not bad in it. But I'm like, if you just took everybody out and just put those 2 and said, who did the better? Who did you believe more? Whose plight did I believe more? Who did I feel more indemnity? And it was Demi Moore, hands down. It was Demi Moore. But hey, like I said, I don't know who voted in the Oscars. Maybe I can sneak into one of these people's places and say, hey, I know you're a friend of a friend of a friend that might be an Academy member. Can I hold this for you? Here, I'll buy you a coffee. Let me hold this ballot for you. Who left?
No, that's bad.
Rad.
Oh, that's not it. That's an improvement, actually. Nah, he probably is internet.
William.
One of these days, I'll visit you in Las Vegas, the Sci-Fi Center. I would love to go there one day.
Cool.
Be sure to come in the middle of the day someday in July.
Yeah,
What's going on there?
I'll be. Well, actually, don't come on the end of the month of July because I'll be in better weather for 4 days.
Yeah, maybe on August when San Diego Comic Con's all done. I'll probably wait.
Cool. I'll be here, Lord willing. If I get struck by lightning, but I'm assuming I'll be alive, well, and in good health on the day.
No,
all right, guys. I'll answer some.
Where's my? Can you show me my signed Absolute Batman that I have yet to pick up, please?
The black and white. I don't have it here. I have it at the house.
Asking.
I took it to the house before you told me that because it wasn't the one on the wall.
Okay. But did you sign
You're
it?
talking about the black and white you won, right?
Yeah, the one I won. Yep.
Yeah.
You're gonna sign that?
I already did.
Okay, get Brad to sign it when he comes out. Whoever from the show comes out there, make him sign it.
Okay, you realize that's a valuable comic, but that's right. It's your money.
It'll be valuable. You're gonna be famous one day, bro.
Not for the
Williams. Not really.
Be on a mugshot.
Question I was going to ask Brad before we get off a little bit, but since me and you, we both agreed that Ballerina was great. Me, it's
what about me?
Yeah,
I agreed first because Brad saw it like 3, 4, 5 days later.
Yeah,
it's one of the best female led action films of probably the last decade. I feel, but
there's like 3 of them, by the way. I mean, it's not like we have a lot.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Fourth Element.
What?
The Fourth Element?
Fourth Element.
That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Wait, anyway, what was that, Chappie?
No, I was going to ask you. I saw this video of someone made a while back, and it kind of made me a little bit angry. I won't name the person, but like he made this video that like how like Ballerina killed the entire female-led action genre, and like how it's just the girl boss. Like, what's your whole thoughts on that? That's woke.
I mean, it's her movie, right?
That's silly.
I know. It's like, dude, you didn't even see the fucking movie. Like, how can you say it's a girl boss? It's just so.
You gotta change your algorithm, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I see some stuff on there that I will probably have to give away of his collection, but I'm seeing there's enough of his collection I can integrate into the center just fine.
I mean,
and he looks like he'd be a lot easier to rob than Enosh. Enosh looks like a fire and so I could probably just not even rob Chappie. I could just be like this, hey Chappie, here's what I got for you.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I got the put me on screen.
You're on screen. Oh, you want to be on?
It's almost as bad as a video that I saw a few days ago that pretty much said Ballerina is Russian propaganda.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's definitely coming with me. That Chappie, what I'm going to need you to do, I need you to put the stuff I'm going to need in a certain area.
I mean, I don't have
to rummage. I don't want to have to rummage through everything when I get to Florida.
We got to give Chappie at least.
I don't get that either, Aaron. It's like because it's like it's not propaganda of any sort. It's other than like propaganda of like you've.
All right, here's what, this is what I'm going to be my last point because we will be together again tonight, guys.
Gotcha.
Ballerina did not do as much as it could have done. It's not a failure, but it did not do as much as it could have done. And I hate to go back to being chauvinistic. It's because it's a woman. It's a woman, and I don't think that certain women are going to get the credibility for being action heroes. Even Charlize Theron, an Academy Award winner, that movie didn't make as much as it should have made because our society, and I don't think it's like sinister. I just don't think that we're geared to appreciate what these type of women are giving us in these type of movies. And that's one reason I think it did do it. The other reason, I hate to say this, I don't think the John Wick franchise has steam outside of Keanu Reeves. I have to be proven otherwise. I hope that's not true. Because I enjoy everything I have. The Continental, the show was kind of boring, but I enjoyed all the John Wick movies. I enjoyed Ballerina. I enjoy the lore. I want more of it. But I have a suspicion, and I hope I'm wrong, that without Keanu on the screen, I don't know if the general audience is going to go see these movies. And it's not a big audience to begin with.
The Donnie Yen spinoff.
Yeah, I think that's going to bomb.
No, I think that's going to do very well. That's going to do well.
Well, to talk about like women and action and that, look at the lengths Cynthia Rothrock back in the day had to do.
Yeah,
she had to leave America and go to Hong Kong.
Yeah. What's the name of the Donnie Yen one? Because I think it's gonna bomb.
Kane.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's the name of the character.
I don't care. I think there's going to be a diehard audience that's going to go see it, but I think it's going to be smaller than Ballerina. And I think it's going to be way smaller.
I mean, I think it's probably going to be called. They're probably going to do the same because they don't have like a title yet. I think it's.
They could put John Wick universe on it.
It's going to be probably like the same as like from the world of John Wick. Kane is probably I imagine what it'll be called because
it'll have a release.
They want to have John Wick associated with it, even though he's not in it.
That'll have a POBD release date before it gets released in theaters, and I'm not joking. And I'm not saying that because I think the movie's going to suck. Don't conflate with me thinking that Kane is going to suck.
No,
there's no reason why Ballerina. I'm sorry, a fucking awesome movie, and there's no reason that should struggle across this line. And you got an actress like Ana de Armas, and again, the female thing, but she's a known actress. I mean, Donnie Yen is known, but he's not like that household name. So I think that movie is going to struggle. Not right that it's going to struggle. I think that movie is going to struggle. I think it's going to be on PVOD almost immediately, and I don't think you're going to see too many. I mean, you'll see 2 more John Wick movies maybe before he says, "I'm 70, I'm done." But I don't know, because without him in the movies and in the heart of the movies, I don't know if people are going to come out and see them. And when I'm telling you, if you guys are watching this and you haven't seen, if you like John Wick and you haven't seen Ballerina, what's up, man? I don't understand. I mean, I gave you the reasons, but I'm telling you, somebody watched all these movies.
The whole girl boss.
It's really good. If you like the violence that's in John Wick, the frantic violence that's in this is above par. So everything you like about John Wick is there. The lore is there.
I mean, just the fire, the firefight alone.
Oh, it's top notch.
Yeah, but then people didn't go see it. So if the same amount of people that went to see the last John Wick carried over to this, then your numbers are different. The math just tells you everything you need to know, which is not cool, by the way. But it is what it is.
It failed because there was no dead puppy.
I mean, the dead everything else. That's like the only thing that doesn't die in that movie. Whole villages die. I'm pretty sure there's a dog there somewhere, right? I don't know. But like I said, I don't have much hope for the John Wick universe unless John Wick is the subject of the movie, and that sucks because they built a mythology that I think should work. I don't know what we got to do. I mean, they got to change their strategy to be like, how do we get people to go see these movies?
You have to have a Force Ghost of Keanu Reeves guide the characters in their movie.
Or you probably just have to lie to people.
Mm.
Yeah, he's in the whole movie.
A little trailer magic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But like I said, that's a disappointment to me, and that's a sobering hit because I'm like, I thought Ballerina was going to do well. I thought just at least the John Wick people would go see it.
Yeah.
And not enough of them went to go see it, which I'm like, you guys suck.
What's an underrated one? I'm going to tell Alien about this. Did you ever see the movie Salt, Andrew Joey? Because that's a really underrated.
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah.
That's a really underrated female-led action film that I really like. It's with it's kind of like a Black Widow-esque movie, but except done better. I feel, especially the director's cut. That when you do see it, it's really good. Yeah,
you bring up a good point, Fourth. But here's the thing: Sydney Sweeney, I don't think they would buy her in an action movie.
No.
She's hot and all. I mean, if Ana de Armas, there's nothing to push out.
If Sydney Sweeney made a modern remake of Barbed Wire, people would go watch that way.
Well, yeah, because that's different. Because
why is it different, William?
Yeah.
Why are you saying things out, William?
Because you're talking about a movie that was, and a character, by the way, Dark Horse comic character, that was designed almost purely on sex appeal. Well, I mean, you read Barbed Wire, see what they did with Barbed Wire in the movie. It's almost entirely sex appeal first, and then action is like there's some action behind the boobies and all that. When it's a Ballerina, it's an extension of a lore that you're not. There's no sex appeal there. All right, you can make fine Ana de Armas sexy. That's fine. What she's doing in that movie, she's not showing her boobs. She's not putting her ass in your face. She's taking an ice skate, and killing multiple people.
Using like nunchucks, yeah.
She's using a grenade. I've never seen a grenade fight. What the fuck is that? He does it in this movie. There's a flamethrower fight that switches up into a flamethrower fire hydrant fight where 50, 60 people die.
Yeah.
That's not
conservatively.
Like, hey, I'm Pam Anderson. Here's my boobs. Here's my ass. Oh,
Aaron got taken into the void.
Yeah.
Oh, we're about to wrap up anyway. So yeah, because the
one last thing I'll show. I got the 9-4 game right here.
Okay, I'll let you keep that.
Yeah, he's a blow carrot fan. For
real.
I'll let you keep that.
I own this game. I haven't played it yet, but probably in the future. But this is very.
All right. Well,
The Long Kiss Goodnight was another good one.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Samuel Jackson and Gina Davis.
Yeah,
that was a really good. But see, here's the thing. Now, if it had just been Gina Davis, I don't know if it was worthy. That was worthy of all the praise you give that movie. But I just don't think that society.
Didn't Kill Bill do well? That's another female action film. Didn't that do?
Kill Bill did well, but it's an ensemble cast.
Yeah,
it's led by her.
But the bride is like one of the all-time badasses in movies, just on the fact that she's the bride.
Okay, so we got one.
Yeah, but how about Underworld? That's another one. Underworld.
There you go. So. Resident Evil.
No, not those.
Atomic Blonde.
Tommy Bond was
Yeah.
one, but see, Tommy Bond didn't make it. Tommy Bond made decent money for this budget, but not enough people saw that movie. If all the people who love that type of action would have seen that movie, I mean, I'm not saying these movies that you guys bring up are bad, but I don't even have a full hand of the ones that actually broke through. Whereas I could give you some Neanderthal
Black
bonehead.
Widow might have been one of the all-time greats if they would have let fucking Tony Masters talk shit like they're
Say
supposed
that
to.
again. Who?
I said the Black Widow movie probably would have been one of the all-time greats if they would have let Tony Masters talk shit like they're supposed to. That's the second time Marvel's did that. They did that with Deadpool the first time.
For a whole other reasons. That wasn't one of them. That was
Well, that plus
he's
dead.
but Taskmaster talked shit, and like they always have people talking shit. And the one time they got a motherfucker that actually talked shit in the movie, they don't talk. That's the same thing.
That's why that movie hit into it.
Yeah, but William, how about Underworld? That's another one that spawned a whole bunch of sequels. That's another one.
Okay, like I said, I'm going to give you up to 5.
What are these
I don't
movies?
agree with that. We got 5. We got 5 movies in what, 30, 40 years.
Very well.
I'm giving you 50 years of length here. I'll give you. Let's go back to
What
1980.
says The Hunger Games? Katniss and Jennifer Lawrence, right there. That's a hit. That's a
Not that type of action, though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
We're talking. Hold on. Okay, I
Braveheart.
think I missed it. Hold on. Stop, everybody. Let me clarify because I see where you guys are going. Let me clarify the type of action I'm talking about. So, say for instance, like a Steven Seagal, who is, I think, talentless, would get more notoriety for just doing the same move over and over again than a good female action star would that is doing things more. Yes, there have been female-led movies. Yes, I understand that. But when you're talking about
only in Russia these days.
Hold on.
Only in Russia.
Yeah.
let's use the John Wick franchise alone. You have Keanu Reeves doing his thing. And in the same universe, you have the ballerina doing her thing in a much more graphic, way more violent way. And yet that audience couldn't carry over. Now, I've always said, like I just said, a part of it is because it doesn't have John Wick in it. But I think another part of it is because, and I heard this to the lead up of the movie, it's people couldn't take Ana de Armas seriously as an action hero. But there are other people out there, other male actors that are doing shit action that are getting top billing and people are going to see their movies. So yeah, I know there's been female-led movies. But when it comes to that's not
a nice thing to say about Machine Gun Kelly, dude.
Yeah, but you're saying that a Steven Seagal movie would do way better than a
Yeah, I think maybe if you're talking early '90s, that might be a valid point. I don't know if that's the example that works today, though.
Look at what was put in the ballerina versus some of the action movies that are out right now.
I like Vladimir Putin's on the stream. You're probably he's the greatest.
Oh yeah, Steven Seagal may have been a bad example, but I'm pretty sure Brad, the action, the stuff that we watch, there are people in there that are not on par with the action that you see in a John Wick movie or a ballerina movie. But especially when it comes to ballerina, when it comes to, I think a lot of people they can't buy a female doing that.
Yeah, but
doing the John Wick thing.
I think it has to do with the woke crowd.
No, it has to do with traditionally. I don't even think it's evil. I don't even think it's a sinister, purposeful thing. I think it's just that we've kind of trained our minds to where only a guy can do that. Only a guy can take a skate and cut throats and only a guy could get hit by a car, stick your head outside the car while it's still being rammed, shoot and kill everybody in the car, take the arm off the guy, take it somewhere else, kill a whole bunch of people in so many different ways. I don't think the reality that a female actress can very well do that is something that is yet accepted. And I don't think it's because people are anti-women or anything like that. I just think that
watching documentaries about femme fatales and stuff about what the KGB did back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, women do half the killing in the world when it comes to spies.
Here's a good example for numbers. And I don't know if it's like a 1-to-1 though, because that was Prey was a streaming release, but it was very well liked.
What about Michelle Rodriguez and all the movies she does, namely The Fast and the Furious?
No,
okay.
Well, she's not the main butt kicker.
Well, she is she was the butt kicking female for like 10 years.
You're not going to the movies to see with Michelle Rodriguez.
Well, you're not even going to the movies to see what them do anything physical. You're going to this point. You're watching a cartoon.
The Prey thing, I think, would have been a good example if it weren't for the fact that if you did go to see that movie after the Predator ruined everything, if you did go to the movies, you're going to a Predator movie to see the Predator.
Wasn't that straight?
Even back, yeah. So you're not. So her being kick-ass in that movie was not the draw of the movie. Ana de Armas and what she's doing is the draw of the movie. Her vengeance, her action is that she's not along for the ride. She is the ride. And I just think that we're just not ready right now.
I'll say.
Do you
I don't
think the
think
new
that's fair, but I just think that's why. Unless somebody else can give me a better reason why that movie, as good as it is, within the universe that is described,
Yeah, but isn't Ellen Fanning in the new Predator movie? Like she's alongside this, so that might do well.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Guys,
you look,
I understand what you're saying, but is that why I'm going? Is that the draw?
No.
Is Fanning the draw? Is Michelle Rodriguez the draw? I understand these women are doing kick-ass things in their movies, but when it comes to taking out the wallet to buy a ticket, who's the draw? Or the Predator is going to be the draw in any movie the Predator is in. So the fact that there's a kick-ass female in there, but like I said, if you take the Predator out there, are we going to see just like Long Kiss Tonight? That's an excellent movie. But even with Gina Davis as an Academy Award winner at the time, Samuel L. Jackson was on a ride people were going on. That was the draw.
Numbers might have you on actual numbers. He said, "Is everything everywhere all at once big?" And Michelle Yeoh is an international fucking movie star, superstar.
All right, no, that's another bad one.
What do you mean it's another bad one? She sells more movies than most people in the world. The fucking Asian market she's in, she's like, dude.
Her and Cynthia Rothrock started a movie together. It was just those two women in a lead.
In terms of the
type of they made shitload of money.
Hold on, William, speak now.
In terms of the type of thanks, Chappie. In terms of the type of action that is being sold in these type of movies, not those movies, the type of vicious action that is being sold, like an Atomic Blonde as the lead actress, as the crux of the story, not somebody who's in the movie, as the story. Now you have it narrowed down to a handful of movies. And when you do that, you look at if you have a certain percentage of people who are not going to buy that person doing the same thing that John Wick is kind of doing, then that's going to hurt the movie. There are a bunch of kick-ass females in a bunch of movies. Not like this. We're talking John Wick violence. We're talking that brutal, stabby, up-close killer, assassin, gutting you, blowing you up, burning you type of thing that is perfectly, will draw perfectly for a dude. But if the woman is doing the same thing in that role, it doesn't seem to be working sometimes. So yeah, I mean, a lot of examples
good movie called
good for a broad sense.
I don't know whether you've seen it.
What's that?
There's a really good movie called Salt. I'll recommend everybody watch it.
That one. That's the movie I just said. We saw with Andrew Joey.
Yeah, he brought that up.
I brought that up.
But like I said, in this day and era of that kind of violence, of that kind of like I said, John Wick. Let's just call it John Wick level violence. I think part of it was because John Wick wasn't in it completely. It wasn't his movie. He's in it. He's an important part of it. But the fact that people look at Ana de Armas, a woman who I've seen smaller women than that could probably kill all of us on the screen.
Name one now.
They couldn't buy. They couldn't buy her as a person that could do this. I think that's a problem. I don't think it's a sinister problem. I don't think people consciously do it. I just think this is the whole movie going, the way you see movies.
No, the whole girl boss thing is to put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
When you say girl boss, Chappie, what do you mean?
No, what they say, like the girl's perfect and she can beat the men up and no.
That's called a Mary Sue, I thought.
Yeah, that's called a Mary Sue.
Salt is not God.
It was popular, A, because it's Wonder Woman. B, that's not the type, the violence that she does, and Gal Gadot does some cool
she
World War
fucking cut Doomsday's arm off, and she cut Steppenwolf's fucking head off. What do you?
That is okay. You compare that. You compare that to what happens in Ballerina. That's kindergarten.
Yeah.
Well, she's kindergarten.
That's like the opening,
right?
I mean,
the ballerina is the most extreme example, right?
What's up?
The ballerina would be the most extreme example, right? By its design, right?
It's not as far as John Wick type violence goes. It's on par with John Wick. That's what I mean.
I'm saying for a female-led movie, because you need this specific movie to be the way so we can compare it the way you want. That is the extreme example.
No, not just that issue
is violent like that.
All four of these movies did very well. I hope.
Is that
All right,
Underworld?
guys, let me try. Let me see if I can try to.
I'm
figure this
listening,
out
William. I'm
where
trying to
I
meet
am.
you where you're at. I'm trying to listen.
Let's limit it. Have you seen? Have you all? Who hasn't seen Ballerina?
I have not seen Ballerina.
Okay, dude.
I'm going to check it out. I'm not against it.
Oh, there's a different. The type of violence that is consistent, not any other movie. That's consistent. What happens in like Atomic Blonde or John Wick is different than Wonder Woman. So I'm making the comparison amongst those movies where the male counterpart has done really, really well, doing the same, if not lesser, type of violence. Then because you automatically assume that's a guy. That guy can do all that. Guy can take on 16, 20 people. Ooh, a dude with a flamethrower? That's nothing new. But when you see this little dinky 5'5" woman doing it, it's like, no, I can't believe that. And she does it. She literally fucking does it. So it's not like it can't be done. So I think that's where.
And Brad seem to agree on the point. And I understand this is a little bit on left field, but from a violence standpoint, they both think that the lady from Shadow Stray should be the Cassie.
Okay, but look at all right. You guys now those are good examples. Those are good examples. But let's look how much.
And
like I said, when you talk about draw and money,
I get you. It's a foreign movie released on Netflix. I totally understand.
Well, that
and like have respect for that side of the world. China itself, when I'm using the Michelle Yeoh example, has 6 times the amount of people that they have to premiere.
We're talking about something that was prepped for near not blockbuster, but at least 300, 400, 500 million level. None of those movies remotely were close to being prepped in that manner.
So, can I ask you this? And this isn't being facetious or asshole or anything. Do you equate a high box office with an actual classic, memorable movie?
No.
Okay.
No, because there's some shit movies that made a lot of money, and there's some really classics that did.
So, are you keeping that no in mind in your discussion right now, or is this all based on box?
No, this is the question more than anything, because you're talking about something that already has the immediate prep of 4 successful films.
That is a good point, though, because The Shawshank Redemption didn't make any money at all, and something.
No, that's not. No. All right, we're talking. You guys are adding things into a specific genre.
I'm trying to narrow things down.
But it's not really working because we're talking about. I'm talking about. I've named the movies that have done well with male counterparts. Now we have one within the same universe. So let's just stay in that same universe. We don't even have to go anywhere else. Let's just go in that same universe. You can take a 60-year-old man seriously as doing all the crazy shit John Wick does, but those same people, it just didn't carry over to Ballerina, where everything tells you that this woman could do it. She does it, and yet not as many people that went and saw this. Like I said, I threw in the mitigating circumstances of the fact that John Wick is not the entirety of the movie. That hurt it a little bit, but I still think from the and I read this from things leading up to the movie because we promoted that movie. I had people say, who had gone to see, because I polled them. I polled them as I gave them their coin. I gave them their posters and all that. And some of them said, I don't know if I'm in with that one. And I asked them why. I don't know if that chick can sell all that, man. Come on. I could see if it, and I'm quoting, I could see if it was John Wick. And I got that over and over again. I get that over and over again from people who I'm like giving you a free movie. You're turning down a free movie because you think you can't buy the action. And I'm like, and I heard that, when we did the exit interviews, when we did our exit stuff, after the movie was out, a lot of the people were shocked that could be her doing that. The people who did give it a chance did not think that movie could go that far.
You just said it. You just said it yourself. If they can believe a 60-year-old man can do it, then it's got to be something.
I can believe someone
like.
Well, what's the difference between the 60-year-old man and the woman, other than age?
And moves on should be as unbelievable as a woman.
You're saying which should be. I agree with you. I'm saying what it is. I'm saying what it is. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong because I love the John Wick. I want to go see this movie. I want to go see Kane. I enjoyed this, but I'm apprehensive because I'm like, ooh, what will their response be if they realize that these movies don't carry the weight, A, without him in it, and B, if they try to use a female protagonist again.
Can I offer you a hypothetical question for you to answer, William?
Yeah, no, I got to go.
All right, just use the similar criterion that you used for John Wick. So if they didn't make Matrix Revolutions, right? And between Matrix 1 and Matrix 2, they ended up making a Trinity-led movie. Do you think that's going to be in the same franchise? It would have been a female-led major action movie within the same type of franchise. I'm even using the same lead actor to make it easy. Again, it's 20 years ago, whatever you want to say. Do you think that at that time, Matrix 1 comes out, the hype for Matrix 2 is coming out, and they say Matrix 2 is going to be Trinity, and then Matrix 3 is coming out at that Christmas, just like how it did in real life, but that would have been reloaded. Do you think that would have been that's why it's a hypothetical, because obviously it never happened, but do you think that would have satiated the audience the way that you were trying to?
I think you would have had it easier. I think you would have had an easier time with that because of with the tone that Matrix 1 sold, and it was you're selling an entire world. I'm not saying it would have been successful because it's a hypothetical, but I think you probably have a good chance of failure. But I think you would have had a better chance than Ballerina because of the intense level of things that are going on. Most of the things that happened in the Matrix were equal things that both people could buy. The shooting of the gun, the helicopter, the motorcycle, all that was things that society 20, 30 years ago was like, yeah, woman, that's no problem. The type of tone of violence that's in the Ballerina, I just don't think people believe that she could pull that off as a woman. And I think that's wrong. It is wrong, 100%. But I'm looking, unless somebody has other reasons why this, because if I'm the film company, I'm like, I hope they're not reactionary. I hope they look at the PVOD numbers. I hope that, because like I said, I want to see a Ballerina too. I'm all for anything you want to give me, John Wick.
It doesn't cancel the Kane spinoff. That's my big worry.
This is horrible. I'm sorry, Senior Nerd.
No, don't bring that up.
This is a bad one. Let me finish. Then I really got to go. No one's bringing up Captain Marvel, who still today will be the only $1 billion. I'm going to actually bring that up later on in another show tonight.
That's why I use the example, because that's the Captain Marvel. It's the same thing.
The reason why I'm not bringing that up, because Captain Marvel doesn't make $1 billion if it's not where it is. No, Captain Marvel didn't make $1 billion because it was a good movie. That was a mediocre movie at best.
Yeah,
Captain Marvel made it funny because where it was at, and it was part of the ramping up of that level of the Infinity Saga. Okay. That's why Captain Marvel made $1 billion.
It was at a critical mass, as they say, right?
Yeah, if you put that in a vacuum, if you take, just like Guardians of the Galaxy, if you take some of these movies out of the infrastructure of the MCU, first of all, they don't even get made. Second of all, they do not make $1 billion. So yeah, not thank you, Senior Nerd, but I don't think
that was a business model they were tackling. But you hear that, Aaron? So you have a better chance of getting your Trinity movie off the ground than Ana de Armas. So I say go for
it. Yeah, because like I said, I think it has to do with the tone and the actual acts in the movie. If you're doing something that's, and I'm not saying this is right. There'll be people in the comments. You're a show, but no, I'm not. I think this is 100% wrong. I think it has to do with society buys what women can do in film.
Mm-hmm. At the same time, somebody can get shot in a movie and walk away. What do you think is the remedy
for it, William?
I think it's going to have to be movies like Ballerina breaking through somehow. I think it's going to be the film company saying, you know what, this is a fucking great movie. It made enough. It didn't make enough, but we have faith in this type of action, and let's give it another shot. I think it's going to have to be people the film studios being patient enough to be like, we believe that these women can do this. We're watching them do it. We have to find.
Aaron, are you about to go give a commencement speech at a graduation?
No, not me.
You got the.
It's not just an earnest on the big studios. It's also earnest on like independent stuff and like even going straight to streaming content as well.
I have to slightly disagree with you there, Ozzy. Here's the thing, because I needed it to happen on the big screen. I need the volumes to see it and be like, oh shit, Arna, that little 5'5" woman can take a flamethrower and kill 100 people while you're eating your popcorn. If they do it, there's a lot of indie stuff out there, but a lot of the masses don't get to see that like they see the big budget stuff. You know what I mean?
Is this a combination of it? Of big budget movies and streaming, just to make more content of that particular genre.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to highlight it. Like if you put it on Netflix or you have to fucking advertise it. I mean, because like I said, I needed Atomic Blonde too. I know Charlize Theron is not going to age. That's fine, but how long am I going to wait? I need a Ballerina too. I love these movies. These movies are good.
Yeah, I thought the movie did it well enough, but.
William sliding into Omni Viper territory slowly.
No. That territory is not even in my universe. All right, guy. Who are you talking about?
Fourth had a big one for you for his argument. It came up twice in the chat. If you want to.
Yeah, Port.
What was his argument?
It came up twice. It was his biggest comment that's in there twice. That one. Huh? No, the previous bigger one. Maybe like the one where it's under where it says repost. You see where it says repost above that.
Jeez, you guys in your repost.
I don't do repost. This is new to me.
It's not a 60-year-old man. It's a legacy of the man we've watched.
We got one in the night.
What? He's on. John Wick's been around for a decade. Oh, well, you're talking about Keanu Reeves in general. But that's a part of my other argument is that if it's not John Wick, that's another part. I think it's two sides of the same coin, though. I think those are equally things to attribute to why the movies didn't make as much as it possibly could have made. Watching other channel. We'll go over that tonight. We'll go over the Black Panther stuff tonight.
Can you speculate on lanterns at all tonight, please? When you're on,
I don't have anything to speculate on.
I don't know anything about it. So can you just?
I can tell you what I know. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had. Yeah.
Right. And tell me what you think they're going to do with it from your point of view. But you don't have to do that right now. So.
Okay, Captain Marvel was placed between the two biggest films people thought could be part of the Infinity Concept with us. Oh yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, that's yeah. All right, hey, I gotta go because I gotta watch the game and I gotta get some make some buttons. And I gotta get some other stuff done today. But I will see you guys back later on tonight for our weekend wrap up show. We can continue this over there too. As like I said, for all you, listen, I am not against women in film. I probably don't clip shit and don't watch the whole damn show. I'm just trying to figure out, and if you guys in the comment section have a better answer to why movies like this, don't have a shot at doing what their male counterparts do, let me know. I mean, maybe I'm missing
someone
something.
from Indiana got really injured in this game.
Oh fuck, that sucks. I didn't bet on this game, but all right, guys.
It's about the solution and the remedy. The solution and the remedy.
Yeah, talk about that too.
Get rid of it.
That's something we can bring up later on tonight. Hey guys, thank you for the Patrons.
Are we doing an open stream later on or no?
Yeah, no, I think we flirted with this.
Wow.
I will see you guys later tonight for the weekend.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Ooh,
damn.
That's the main guy. Maybe I
leg busted up.
Okay, guys, I'm out. See you tonight.
See you guys.